Right. Okay. Welcome everybody. Thank you for making time this morning for this session. In I'm Vani has been a very very close friend for many years, and this is the first time I think that I'm introducing her formally. So she's known on social media as Worm Rani on Instagram, and there she has several followers. But for those of you who don't know her, she's an avid composter. She's actually known as the compost queen of Bangalore, at least, if not of you know the state or the country. She's an urban farmer. She grows a lot of vegetables on in her terrace garden. And she has also, because of her of the work that she's been doing in spreading awareness about composting and about sustainability, she has become a very passionate citizen leader. She's a founding member of the Solid Waste Management Roundtable, which was started in 2009. And it's a very unique organization in that it is a completely voluntary organization. Almost everyone, I mean, they have a few employees to do specific things, but all the founding members and all the members, everyone is a volunteer. And it has gone from strength to strength and has done a huge the contribution of SWMRT in actually getting a lot of the waste issues in Bangalore set is huge. Vani is a recipient of numerous awards. She has been a speaker on platforms such as Inc. and TEDx. She has given several TEDx talks for different organizations. She has been featured by National Geographic in their One for Change series, and by the Discovery channels on the series known as The Journey of India, as a change maker. As Worm Rani on Instagram, she has a following of nearly 3 lakhs. And she's she's also a founding member of We Care for Malleshwaram and Clean Green workshops, which was what we started as initially, and then now it's not. I mean, it's kind of got absorbed into SWMRT. So I This is a very short introduction of Vani, and I think she has a lot of things to tell us today, and you'll see how she's able to communicate, how what an excellent communicator she is in the way she
Oh God.
tells tells us very very simply about how we can make things at the household level more sustainable, more earth friendly. So over to you, Vani.
Hey, thanks, Uma, and thanks, and hello, and good morning to everyone. Thanks for having me. Feel very privileged to be talking to people who are already, transformed. You guys are doing such an amazing job at Biome, and I'm always a huge fan. And through Uma, I get to know everything that you people do. So it's very interesting to learn. And I follow your social media handles. I often try to repost them, so that awareness spreads and we amplify everything that we do. So thanks once again. So yesterday when Uma told me that let's jot down things, and my energy levels just shoots up when I know that I can do a demo, because more than a worm rani, I'm a demo rani. So I kind of constantly like to show, because I think what is visible and what is showcased, is trapped in your head. What you read as a concept, I don't think that translates as easily. So for me, it has always been that having stalls, doing demos, has been a way I try to do my bit. And so today I'll just take you through a few things that, as a practice, it's just a practice. It's a practice of 12 years, and we are always, we can never be zero waste. We are always on the journey, and every time we pick a practice, make it a part of our daily routine, and then sustain it for the rest of our lives, has to be the way. Because a lot of people get very anxiety that, am I doing enough? Is there so much to do? And that anxiety, holds them back from even trying. So for me, it's always one step at a time. Make sure till you it becomes like you get up and brush your teeth. It should become a practice like that. You continue, and it's always the journey that matters, not where you have reached or what you have done. In today's session, we will take you through a kind of in my home. What are the best practices that I have on a daily basis that I have sustained over this period of time? Because many things you try and somewhere it just does not, you're not able to make it a big a practice. But most of it can be. You give yourself time, give yourself patience. Don't beat yourself up. So I think these are very important when we are on a sustainable journey. The first thing is, of course, we the 3 hours people keep talking about, but we have added so many hours over the 3 hours. To me, my most favorite hour is, of course, to refuse. I think that's where we make an impact. That we in today's fast-paced life, convenience has become such an important aspect of our living. Is it mindful? No. We are not really aware of the things that we consume in this kind of fast-paced life where convenience has overtaken everything else. So basic things we can refuse by just being mindful and understanding what happens or what is the impact. Because each of us, with our practices, with our daily living, we have an impact on the planet and on the ecosystem. And this ecosystem, if it is getting difficult to sustain life on this planet, we are going to suffer, not just as mankind, but every other species that live on this beautiful planet. There are billion species that live in as a part of nature. They live in alignment with the nature. But we are the only ones that generate things that the earth can't digest, and we don't align ourselves to the ecosystem at all. So I think that becomes very important that we get aware of this and look at how refuse can be a big part of our daily living. Every time you step out of the house, there are things that you can refuse. At home, you can refuse to have certain things that quickly become waste, and then you don't know where it's going and what is the impact of that waste. So we will take you through some of these things as a demo, and of course I'll also showcase the cleaners that I use. And there are a list of things that we've put down. We like to see how much we can push it through. So when I leave home, I have a kit that I carry always, so that I can refuse a plastic straw, a plastic spoon, a disposable plate, even if it is not plastic, if it is paper plate or even a plate made out of natural materials, still there is effort and resource used. And still for me, it is a one-time disposable, and then that doesn't work for me. So I carry my own plate. So a few things that we can see on a daily basis, putting a little bag into your backpack or your car or a scooter. You can avoid carry bags, even if it is biodegradable. They come up, so we don't know how much of this is greenwashing, and where can we really start checking if that is earth friendly or it really has somewhere to go. Not just getting it polluting. So basically, waste is such a humongous problem. We all know that mixed waste is terrible, and we need to make sure that we segregate our waste. And as mixed waste, it usually gets dumped, and there's nothing scientific in these dumping yards. It's just a dump yard, and piles and piles of garbage gets collected, and they compact it. And then when they compact every organic matter that breaks down in these land dumps, they start breaking down anaerobically without the presence of oxygen. And when anaerobic digestion happens, methane is the output. And then we all know that methane is such a deadly greenhouse gas, directly contributing to the climate change. And that's something we don't want to contribute to. So everything that goes out our house, we don't know where it ends, in the lakes, in the waterways, in the soil, in the ocean. It could be burning somewhere. Somebody would have just tried to make sure that just disappears, so they put a fire to it and burn it down. So somewhere we are constantly create pollution. And also at the landfill there is leachate. It's a dark fluid that comes with this anaerobic digestion of organic matter that's trapped in these landfills, and that dark liquid flows out of these mountains of garbage, and they enter not just the soil around, but also into the water table. and everywhere. I mean, you all know the best. Water is connected everywhere, and we get contaminated water because of this toxic leachate that comes off these landfills. And of course, when it enters the soil, and we all know these landfills are on the outskirts, and all these villages are around these landfills. It's a terrible place for people to live, but they have agriculture happening, and most of the food that we source is from these outskirts where these small and marginal farmers are sending it to the mandi, and we get the. So we don't know if the soil there is contaminated, and somewhere what we have thrown is coming back to us in some form or the other. And so constantly we are increasing the kind of pollution for the environment, and also how much toxins we are taking in through water, air, and through food. So to stop that, at least to take full responsibility that my waste is my responsibility, we can take few actions. So at home, of course, there are so many things that you can start to slowly replace. If you have a bottle brush which is plastic, don't throw it away and bring a bamboo or a fiber brush, because it makes no sense. Use it till it lasts. If you have a toothbrush, it's still 2 months to go. It's a plastic toothbrush. Next time when you buy a toothbrush, make sure it's a bamboo one. So we have to grade it in such a way that we're not just throwing away things and replacing it. We will take it to the end of life and make sure that it goes to a recycling, because recycling is a very vibrant industry, but not everything gets recycled. We need to put it in those streams where it reaches these people who sort it, and then it gets recycled. So that's another thing that most people think, that if they put containers that are, a Swiggy box, a takeaway box, which is contaminated, which has food, and you have not even cleaned it, and it cannot be recycled, because, and also you don't give dignity to the people working in the waste, because it ends up in their spaces where they have to sort it, and it's stinking mess. So we are not even really worried about what happens to these people. So I'll just show you as a demo. When we leave home, it's on the full screen. When we leave home, we all have to take a bag, and this is a bag that I carry, and always I have a kit that is ready, and you can just make a kit very quickly in from your own kitchen. It is always carry bottled water. You can refill it wherever you need. If I have a bag that needs my car keys, my wallet, and a notepad, probably a pencil, and my car keys and my home keys, and of course it's summer, I need my coolers too. And along with this, I also have a small bag that has my kit. It's not much, it doesn't weigh much. You can just create a kit like this, ready kit, so that you can put it into your bag every time you leave home, so that you don't know how long you're out, and what all you have to eat or drink. And there's no shame in that. I go to a wedding, I have this kit, and I will refuse everything that comes in containers that are disposables, whether it is a plastic cup, or even if it is a naturally made cup with a dry, whatever the leaves they make, press it in me. So I don't use them. So I have a steel plate. If they're giving something in a paper plate or others, I just take my steel plate, which is wrapped in a napkin. I put a pin so that I don't have to worry about washing there. I bring it back home and wash it along with my other vessels. And there is a small pouch that also has two napkins, so that I can refuse tissues. These napkins are made from an old curtain, so reuse, repurpose. So this is old curtain, soft napkin, cotton napkin. Even people come home, I have cocktail napkins that I give it to people. And these are the ones, so no tissues in my home. And another napkin which is a little thicker, if I need to wipe a plate or something like that. And this we made it when my son got married. We had, for all the guests, we had cloth napkins made from an NGO, and this is still lasting, because this is something that we asked people to drop it back after they used at the wedding, and we collected, came, put it in one round of washing machine, and I continue to use such things and lend it out to friends and family for their occasions also. So these napkins are very useful. Along with that, there is a steel straw, and the steel straw comes with a nice brush. You can keep it clean. I have also one with a scoop. If you are having a tender coconut, you can also scoop it with this and have it. So this is a steel straw. There is a spoon and a fork. So this is just in a small pouch. You can create your own pouches. You don't have to buy specifically something. And of course, you can put a small tumbler into it. But I have got a gift where this pouch has 4 glasses. So if there are 4 of us, we can all have our teas or coffees at any stall or wherever. Even at weddings, I pull out my steel cup. And of course, there is a small pouch which has a bag. So these are the essentials that I pack when I leave home, so that I can refuse anything that is single use, anything that is used once and discarded, because every single use is resources used, energy is used to bring it to you, and then we discard it after one use. So it's a huge waste of resource. So this is something that I put it in my bag, and a lot of people say, "Oh, it's such a burden to carry." I rather carry this burden than burden my beautiful planet. So that's one. When you leave home, what can you actually put into your bag? So the next thing is, at home itself, there are small things that I'll show you the alternatives to things that you can be aware of, right from when you, in the morning, when you wake up and you want to have your tea or coffee, we cut the milk packet, right? And when we cut the milk packet, make sure this little plastic does not get lost, because milk packets, when it's kept clean, this has been in my kit. This is a demo kit that I do regularly. I do a lot of workshops, and there's no smell when you clean and you send it. So this is something that can be recycled. It's good plastic, and but it has to be not stinking. It has to be clean. So when you cut these and put them together, and once in a week you can go and drop it off at a dry waste collection center, which gives livelihood opportunities for people, for the way people who are working in the waste, and you're giving dignity so that you kept it clean. Of course, things like, these are multi-layer packets. Of course, for me, kotas is something that we buy. I still buy them, but not much, but I still buy them, and these can't be recycled. So these also, like this Bonvita thing, uh, make sure that you leave it here. And these, they, of course, the Drivers Collection Center, they sort it in such a way all these goes for different purposes. So it can still go, but a good recycling material will be a clear plastic, right? That will be clear. But nowadays we also get things like I am not plastic. It looks very much like plastic. I don't know how far this is true. A lot of people say it can't be 100% compostable. I have tried composting it in my composter, but they say it won't compost in your composter. It only needs incinerator to or some large heat, lot of heat in it. Yeah, in huge. It has to have huge amounts of heat for it to break down. So that's one thing that I just wanted to tell you all. And the second thing is, all of us love gifting. Gifting is something that we love to do. Giving bouquets, you have to be mindful there too, because bouquets is like complete waste of. If it's just flowers, it was fine to decorate your home, but along with it comes all the packaging, and it's very scary. I'll come to bouquets later. But then, if you want to wrap your gifts, if it's a baby boy, you like to put something like this, blue in color. If it is Valentine's Day, it could be red. So these shiny and these material that makes a lot of noise, they are not recyclable at all. You could use them a couple of times. If somebody gifted you with these, you can keep it, fold it, and they. But again, you don't know where it will end up because it can't be recycled. So the best is to avoid this. Avoid anything like plastics that you can stick on, even these plain things, and make sure that your gifting is more eco-friendly. Old. This is an old, chuni, which you can just cut it and creatively wrap it around the gift that you can give. So it's not, or a jute cloth, something that is already available at home. You can repurpose. I think traditionally, our culture was like that. If you go back to your grandmothers and grandfathers, I think they all used everything that was lying around and repurposed it for something or the other when it was not of any use for one particular way. So that is another thing. And every time you go out, and if you don't have your own bags, and if you accept bags, plastic is banned, but still people give you plastic covers, carry bags. And instead, as I told you, they give you bags that are, they say it's not, I am not plastic and I am completely, biodegradable and all that. I think we shouldn't fall for all this. And they have different colors of bags. They give you, these are all called the polypropylene non-woven bags. And these bags are again derived from plastic, from petroleum. And these are not good. If you see the stitches, they are not stitched. They are pressed, heat pressed, and this is how they look. And I'll just give you a demo on how it melts. Because the alternative to this is definitely carrying your own bag. It is like putting a small little one which opens out to be a big bag in your bag, or repurpose an old kurta or something to make bags at home itself. So these could be the only way we can avoid completely, even if it says it is, it is, because these small bags, give me this bag. When you do this, they're so soft, and people think it is batte bag, that is, it is cloth bag. It is not. I'll just do a small demo to show you it is not. You take a match and kind of, I have been burning this. It melts like plastic, and it smells like plastic. You can see the sticky. If I touch, it would not stay. I mean, it would burn me actually. So that's how it is. It's not cloth. So if we are aware of this and not use this, PP. It is a polypropylene non-woven bags. That would be great, because we would completely shift out of, generating something that has no destination, and also it's polluting. Yeah. And of course, this is the amount of. I got a gift. I keep getting invited. I keep telling them in some functions not to give me a bouquet, but invariably they oversee it. They don't think it's that important. But then on the stage you can't refuse. But I brought it back home just to keep us a set of a demo as a demo, and what all can go into a into this. Okay, it's so shocking that the kind of material that's been put in beautiful flowers, and they actually, you can't see the flowers, you can only see the artificial wrappings and the colors that they mask it with. And it's so sad. These are again PP. You can see them all. You can see every function people give these huge bouquets with all these PP bags. And each flower each flower is, they put the flower, through this, and each flower has a base like this. It's so I mean, I can't imagine that people can do this. And there's so much plastic it's wrapped with. I can get tons of plastic. There are these bows and ribbons, and of course, all the colors that you can think of. And there is this plastic outer cover. Though plastic is banned in flowers, in bouquets, they still wrap it. There's so much. You can see these small, they wrap different colors. And the flowers are so colorful. Why do you need them? So the alternate will be for you to go yourself and pick up just flowers with the stem, and wrap it around in a beautiful cloth at home, or maybe a small jute cloth, and then gift it to people, so that they can just take off the jute cloth and put it in their vase. So I think, and you should stop gifting in weddings, because weddings is, they get so hundreds of bouquets and nobody takes it back home. It's all dumped. I have seen there is an MP who used to stay down my road, and every day when I go for work, I'll see one bouquet dumped in the tree in front of their house for the corporation to pick it up. They have no value for it. So why at all give bouquets during weddings? We have to think twice of the amount of flowers that are grown, how much of pesticides being used, and you're using it to just for it to have no value at all. So I have stopped a long back, and this is something that we all need to think again and again. Of course, tissues are a big problem. It comes from wood, and cutting down trees. So again, this is single use. If you can make yourself napkins and carry them, that will be great. So when the people come home also, this could be, so tissue we should stop the tissue culture. Actually, it's become kind of impossible for people not to do it. I mean, for everything they keep pulling tissues to wipe surfaces. Why, when you have so much tons of old cloths that torn cotton kurta, you can just cut them into pieces and use old punches. Your dhotis, if they're torn, you can cut them into pieces and keep it for wiping surfaces or even wiping the oil. Why do you need tissues? Keep pulling up the tissue roll in your kitchen. So I think these are some things we can be mindful of, and we learn only as we start understanding why. And of course, when in South India we have tambulam that we do. We used to just give it in a plate with the two betel leaves and the coconut and maybe the two betel nuts and a small piece of turmeric, the whole turmeric. That's what the culture was. But nowadays, people just give it in bags like these. Again, PP bags, so fancy. When they go for weddings, you come back with these bags. So you'll be just collecting tons of these bags instead of these packets. These are supari packets. Again, nobody eats them. They're terrible, and it just keeps passing, and finally it ends up somewhere. And these small packets are there all over. It's like the gutka packets, the small shampoo packets. We should completely avoid these little packets. And they also put haldi kumkum in this. Nobody ever cuts this and uses the haldi and kumkum. They just throw it off. And I don't know where it will end up and what happens to the plastic. It can't be recycled. It just ends up somewhere on this beautiful planet. So instead, we can just start putting the betel leaves, two of the betel nuts, like before. And if you want to give turmeric, just put two turmeric. You can get them in shops, and these are all something that can be used or passed around. So these are some of the things that, and also, we sometimes we don't realize, we buy matchboxes. It's okay if the stick is wooden, but also just be mindful. There are some matchboxes that come with plastic, plastic stem. So again, just being mindful of not using them, and move for something that is biodegradable and be better. And of course, I don't know. We have invented toothpicks that are plastic. These are all plastic toothpicks. Bamboo one is better. I still use safety pin, which is always in my chain to clean, which is not good. There, my dentist friend Oma is saying it's not good, but still, it's like, why waste? Why we waste a small bamboo? So I mean, little things that I shouldn't be doing, but I do it. And of course, these earbuds. Again, these plastic ones should be avoided. You have wooden ones that have here. This is the wooden one, so you can use the wooden one. So these are all small things that we can be mindful of and shift towards a more easier way to say this I owe it to the planet to make it better. Yeah, there is something that I need to do for what all the planet provides me. So it's an individual responsibility, it's an individual call to make this shift. And of course, next time when you want to change your toothbrush, just make sure it's a bamboo one. Next time, single disposable razors that you're using, stop that. Buy a bamboo razor, which you can just take the blade. You can slide the blade and then use it, so that you're not using many of these. Of course, next time you don't want your foam has gone bad, buy a wooden one or a bamboo one. Another thing is like clips. This I was aware of it very long time, because I used to get very irritated. The clips break because due to the heat, constantly it's exposed to the outside sun. They keep breaking, and these plastics can't be recycled. They just get lost and end up somewhere. And instead, moving towards wooden clips and steel clips would be a great way. These are all small changes we can constantly think of and do. And of course, I told you that we can always stop using the bottled water, because you don't know what kind of water was filled, when was it filled, how was it stored, what kind of humidity and heat it was taken through. Because this plastic, which has been molded, has been used along with a lot of chemicals, and those chemicals can reach into the water. So we really don't know if you're having a clean drinking water. So best is to carry your own, even smallest one you can keep refilling, and you know that you're not poisoning yourself. That's one thing. And when you get a Swiggy, make sure that you clean it, and this can go for you know when we say lifestyle changes, we're not saying don't order things, but at least when you at times when you can't make your own food and you have to order, make sure you clean it and it can go for recycling. And another thing is straws. Plastic straw was banned. Okay, plastic straw was banned. Instead of the plastic straw, you got paper straw. Paper straw. So you go to a pub, or you go to a club or a juice shop or any hotel or restaurant, they put paper straws. And then edible straws, that too in different colors. Again, so much of effort or resource being used to make them. Why do you need, if you keep a reusable straw? So for refuse is all about reuse as mantra. So anything that can be reused should replace everything that we refuse, because it is single use. And single use things like, uh, even if it is this bamboo or wooden, uh, you get biodegradable. These are plastic. No, not necessary. We can just have a steel spoon from our kitchen. We can put it into our bags and use them, so that we can refuse all these. So your straw. This is a steel straw. It's got you can always buy and keep it in your bag, especially if you have young children. It's nice to take a steel straw because it's easier for them to drink, and carry a fork or a spoon that you need. So these things are very important. And why also people say paper cups are biodegradable because it's made of paper, but that's absolutely nonsense, because no paper can hold water or hot tea or coffee. People drink hot teas in these because you need to grab a coffee or a tea, and you go to a small place and they will always have in these small white cups that they give. This is again another. But when I put it into my compost, I realized that in between two layers of paper, there is you know this is plastic, this is the paper. So there is a complete layer of a cup, which is which is a thin plastic, absolutely useless. And because it's multi-layer, the good paper can't be recycled, because no industry will separate them and take. The plastic industry does not interested in, it's not plastic that can be recycled. The paper industry is interested in this, but he has no energy to remove them, so it ends up in a landfill. So we need to be mindful not to use these small cups, white cups, for your tea and coffee. Instead, a small tumbler in your bag would just make a big difference. Wherever you want to go, you can just pull it out. Don't feel ashamed. It's okay when people look at you weirdly, because you're putting out a message there, right? Let them wonder why you have your own cup, right? So that's one thing. And of course, refusing all these. This is foil and a paper. This is only paper. This who has the energy to separate them and use this paper? So it will end up somewhere that is damaging our planet. So a plate will be always a good idea. So these are some of the things that I wanted to showcase. And of course, coming to another single use, which is a big uh, difference you can make, is of course the sanitary pads and the disposable diapers. So single use sanitary pads and disposable diapers are humongous sanitary waste that has nowhere to go. If you need to connect to somebody who can pick it up, it's expensive. Only huge apartments will have a separate stream to take their sanitary waste, which goes in for a scientific disposal. But everybody doesn't. It's a very small section of the society that actually diverts it for such responsible whatever incineration or whatever. And so best is to go back to days when we cloth diapered our children. Today you get fantastic diapers for kids, colorful ones, safe, because the diaper that we use for kids, the disposable ones, are full of plastic. They say 80 to 90% is plastic. It has the same PP bag that I showed. It has that. You can see it stretches, and there are gels, there are chemicals, there are fragrances, everything that are not good for the skin. Whether it is a women's sanitary pad or a baby's diaper, They are all the same. They have the same things. So instead, these inserts can be just washed and reused again and again in your baby diapers, so that you are not, making it difficult for the child's skin to breathe. Of course, the same goes with the disposable diapers, or the disposable sanitary pads, or these tampons. It's long since I heard this name, tampons. So again, plastic, plastic, plastic. Gels, chemicals. The thinner the pad is, the more things, chemicals in it. And going back to using uh, cloth pads, because cloth pads are amazing. They are soft cotton, and you can re-wash them and put them in the sun and dry them. And of course, menstrual cup is a boon. I and Dr. Meenakshi, we always say, child, in our time, we never had this. After we stopped our period is when we understood about this, and we started, talking about it. And I wish I still had my period, at least to experience what a cup is. Because when my niece came to live with me, it was, I think, 8 years back, I had gifted her a cup. And I told her no sanitary pads in my house. She came to stay with me. So, and then within a month, she got used to it. And she says it was so liberating. She's the one who cycles, she goes on treks, and she goes to, I don't know, all kinds of hill stations to bike and all that. And she said, I was not throwing any sanitary pad anywhere. This was hygienic. 8 hours, I didn't have to change. And all I had to do is, there are different folds. Since I didn't use, I'm just telling what her experience is. This is the structure of our, vagina and the uterus. And with folds, you just insert it, and it releases, and it stays there, and it fills the blood. It takes around 6 to 8 hours, and then you pinch it, and you're supposed to pull it slowly down, and then empty it, rinse it, and then again put it back. So it is like there's nothing outside on your panty, and you don't have any smell coming, because most of these, single-use sanitary pads, it starts to stink after some time because it gets exposed to the air, and there is absolutely no stink. And all you need to is keep this hygienic, keep your hands hygienic. That's it. And a vagina is, it's not a very sterile area, so it's okay. You don't have to worry. And so it's, and when you use tampons, it takes away all the, it sucks all the moisture also from the vagina, which is again very irritating. You can get a lot of conditions due to these. So why put foreign things? Put something that is like, which doesn't. These are all silicone, medical grade silicone, and for 10 years, 8 to 10 years, you can use them. Just wash them with plain water and keep them in your bag. Whenever you have your periods, you can use. So for all the men, for all the women, men who have mothers, sisters, and girlfriends and wives, and for all the women, this is great, to introduce. And I think this is one of the best shifts that we can do. So if you're worried about your napkin hanging in your terrace and somebody seeing it as a, as a cloth napkin, there are, napkins that are square, and nobody will know even that. So there's so much shaming about, putting it out. So you don't have to. There's such amazing choice. People have very innovative ways. They're trying to, bring products that are convenient, and so it's not just the sanitary pad that can be convenient. You can get alternatives which are very convenient. And young girls have started using sanitary, cloth pads, and they're seeing the difference. So it is one way to say, I am going to make a difference to my planet, and not going to push, so much of single use onto this planet. And so, and also when we are in this space, we all need to help others. So if it's an apartment, or if it's a community, we can always have a set of reusable, we call it the plate bank. Is this visible? No? Is it visible? It's called the plate bank,
Yes.
where we say, I have a set of 50 plates, 50 tumblers. I have coffee tumblers, I have water tumblers, I have spoons, I have katoris, and I have a 12-inch plate and a 10-inch plate. I just give it away to friends in their functions, home functions, if they have get-togethers, if they have some celebrations. So this set of 5 things, a plate, katori, a spoon, it's just all reusable. So many people ask me one question: "Oh, it's reusable. You're not thinking of the water that gets spent, washing it." Uh, I think there is more water used to manufacture also. When you have to make things that are single-use disposable, you're using humongous amounts of water, especially if it's paper. Paper industry uses a lot of water, and plastic. Everything has some resource that is being used, and this is reusable. You don't have to buy it again and again and again. Invest in one set and lend it out to people, and feel the joy that you have made sure that they have, stopped using plastic. So these are some of the things that I thought I will do a demo. And next we will go where my director. So yeah, and also I'm a part of I and Uma, and many of us are part of CSA, that is it's community supported agriculture, where we make sure that we get unpackaged groceries. Once a week there is a drop off, and all the vegetables and groceries are all grown by farmers who still believe in natural methods of farming. And there are small and marginal farmers. And it's such a pleasure. I've been here 6 years on this. I haven't gone to a supermarket for ages. Because I don't have to buy anything that which is made by huge corporates, selling, and who is getting the benefit. No farmer gets the benefit. So for us, the CSA model is to encourage the farmer, to make sure that we subscribe to it, so we send the money in advance, and then they have enough resource to buy their seeds, to have labor, so that they can continue believing in natural methods of farming. That's what we support. And for that, we get unpackaged. So I send a oil can, so that I get my cold pressed oils in that. And they send all my groceries in uh, kind of cloth bags, right? Except if it is like jaggery and a few others, we don't get in cloth bag. But otherwise, all our dals, pulses, and our grains, everything comes in it, including mustard, methi, jeera. Everything comes in smaller bags. They're all cloth bags, which we return. The thing is, all these are returnable. So they also send boxes like this. They have uniform boxes of different sizes, and they make even laddus and other things. They put it in such boxes, and we use it, and we send it back the next week. So every week we are supposed to send back. And also people like Sampurna Ahara, they make sure that they send it in tin boxes. Again, we return them. I get my curd, non-dairy curd. They send a vegan dark chocolate spread, which is like the milk that I make and I drink. All these comes in these bottles, which we put it in a box and send it back to them, so that it can be reused. So this is something that we feel very proud to be a part of. And these are all choices. When you get into this journey, you keep seeking to see what kind of practices that you can take next. There is always a next. I mean, it's never ending. I can never say this is it. I've done so much. There is something more to learn. There's something more to imbibe, and something more to practice and become a part of. So this is the demo part. Next, we will go to what? Cleaning.
Wet and dry.
All right. So today is vegetable peels, and I can just collect them, and segregation. So this is the balcony that I have. So we do segregation. So I have a bag where it's just hanging. It doesn't take floor space. So it's just hang in the corner of your balcony, and all the things that I generate in a week, dry, clean waste goes into this. How much ever we refuse, there is still something that keeps coming, something that's broken. See, this is broken. So it can all go back to there are all these posts that they come. All this is collected in this and kept here, and this goes for recycling. Most of them are paper, plastic, metal, and glass. Glass I keep separately if it's broken. So there are batteries that I collect. These are not everyday disposable things. So I just collect them. There are others. It could be expired medicines. It could be some rusted metal, which can be hazardous. Which so all these are. So there are earbuds here. Glass. See, in this is broken glass. where I collect bangles that are broken, all the things that are broken in a paper bag, so that when I give it in a strong paper bag so that it does not hurt someone. So these are little
Exactly.
segregations that we can do and keep, and of course, paper plastic can go into recycling, and then your kitchen waste, the organic waste. This is 60% of our waste, and this goes for composting. And also, before I take you to the composting section, I also, whenever I wash my grains, this is rice, I collect the water, because when I go to put my waste into the compost, I also make sure that I feed my plants with the water that is reused. So this is the rice wash water. So I'll take you to my balcony where I compost. I don't go to the terrace anymore because I am restricted from walking. So my balcony has become my, the entire thing is growing, a little bit of composting, growing, everything's happening in the little balcony. So I am also demonstrating that even in little spaces, we can make this happen. So this is the composting unit, and I just bring the fresh waste. This is food that I have eaten. I don't. There's coffee powder. There's everything that I use since morning for my cooking, and I'm touching it. It's food I have eaten, so it's not dirty. It's not garbage. It's great resource that turns into an amazing soil amendment, and we can grow our food. So you can already see there is. I have been layering it, so I just spread it around. I just spread it around and then cover it with cocoa peat. But if you're doing for the first time, you may need to use an accelerator. You can buy a store-bought one, which is microbes. These are microorganisms. You can just sprinkle on top, or you can even use a little bit of sour buttermilk as an accelerator, and then cover it with this. Just cover it and then close it. So it does not take even 1 minute. But Maggie takes 2 minutes. Maggie is so horrible. You shouldn't be eating it. So it just takes less than a minute to compost, and you have a system, and then it keeps happening. You can keep feeding it. It digests, the microbes digest the food. What the outcome is amazing. Black gold. That's the compost, and this compost can be used in your pots. So this is just a little balcony with 3 pots, and I just use the wash water to not just wash my hand, but also to feed my plants, the thirsty plants. So there are tomatoes growing here. You can see them; they're growing, and there is tantu, and another sopu here. There's palak. It's beautiful. Look at the size of the palak. It's like as big as my palm. And so this is like my morning green juice. This palak is fresh. I just pluck it from here. I don't even wash it because I don't need to. I need these microbes which are on its surface for my gut. So I don't wash. And the safest food is what you grow. You can't buy something and eat it without washing from the market. So it's so easy for me to do that. There's basil here, and there's mantakali which I keep taking off. These are my blueberries that I eat. I don't buy expensive blueberries. This is what I eat, and yeah, and I have my curry plant here. So every morning I use so much of these good iron. So even in a little balcony, you can have a system, and really doesn't take much space, no time. So all the constraints that people talk about, that space is a constraint, time is a constraint. They're afraid of creepy crawlies. No, composting is like the most exciting thing that you can do. And by composting, I feel I owe it to this planet. I owe it to this beautiful ecosystem. So I say it's the rent that I pay to stay on this planet. Composting is the rent I pay because 60% of your waste that doesn't get out and you don't know what happens to it. You're holding it back and you're converting it into this beautiful and start growing. So we are all many farmers in the urban spaces. I'm thrilled to understand what real food is, thrilled to grow our little food. I can't grow everything, but at least I can connect to farmers who still understand this and still maintain the traditional methods of farming. I've got all the bioenzymes here. Got all the bioenzymes that I keep doing. See, this is another kind of obsession that you make your own cleaners. So this is like 5 days old. It's stopped gassing, and once the they settle down, the peels and the solids settle down, and the clear liquid is the clear liquid is the enzyme, which is it's amazing. Doing it with pineapple, you can see so much of bubbles. It's fermenting process. Pineapple to oranges to lemon. These are all lemon from my terrace. So bioenzymes is again an exciting way to say that you will avoid cleaners. It just keeps away all the toxic cleaners, and of course, will be contributing so much better for the waterways by not discharging these powerful chemicals that we use. I think it's 6 to 8 years, 6 to 8 years. I'm not too sure that I moved away from any chemical cleaners in my home. So I have this is a mix of bioenzyme and the soap nuts, the Rita. That is my washing liquid. So that's what I use. So I pour it. I keep a mix of it ready. This is the bioenzyme, which I will mix with that soap nut liquid. This is again a mix of soap nut powder and shikakai powder, which again I use to scrub, steel vessels. Like when you boil milk, you need some rough thing to serve. And of course, I use only loofahs or coconut coir. This coconut coir keeps coming down, but I have a catcher, a steel catcher, which it does not allow it to go and clog my drain. So it's very simple. You can even buy things like this, and all you have to do is dip it into your soap nut and bioenzyme, and that's it. Cleaning becomes such an easy peasy thing. I love cleaning. Very greasy. If you have something very greasy, take the powder. You just wet the coconut coir. So this is very greasy. So you just have to do that. So if I have to, wash any surface, I just have to. This is a very diluted bioenzymes along with a little bit of soap nut. So all I do is put it in a spray can on my stoves, on these, taps. Just spray and then wipe it off, and you're just shining everything. And that's it. Glass can be again washed either in this or in this. It's sparkling after that. And the best part is it uses very little water to wash off the soap. So, that's it. So these are some of the things. There will be old dhoti that can be used to wipe my stove. So if I need to wipe the stove, I have food on the stove, so I'll just spray here. So all I do is spray this diluted bioenzymes and soap nut water and just wipe it off clean with a soft old dhoti. You don't need those microfiber, cloth that you get nowadays, which will be constantly giving out these nanoparticles, and it's going into the waterway. So these are some of the things that we can all look at. It could be your tiles, it could be your chimneys, anything. Just spray and clean. So it becomes so easy, and you wash it and reuse this, and yeah, you're extending the life of the dhoti also. And put it in the sunshine to dry it up. That's it. And of course, when we use the milk, we just wash it and keep this down. We hang it like that or stick it to the tile, and then it drains off, and then you collect it. So there's no smell at all. So these are some of the things I could show in my kitchen. And now what? Food. Okay, I also I'm crazy about using different kinds of traditional cookware. Gone are the days when I used non-stick Teflon and aluminium. I mean, I've done it all. Everybody has. Even my mother-in-law, the later part of her years, she was using aluminium a lot, the kadais and all that. And it was like an heirloom that passed on to me, and I was using them. But the minute I understood and understood a little more about how we can keep our cooking food safe, I did shift to different traditional vessels, cooking vessels, and some of them are, of course, terracotta. So I made a dal today, and then here this is stone soap, stone
Soapstone.
soapstone, soapstone, which again retains a lot of heat after cooking. It's an amazing way to cook your food in that. There is this is again a
Manipur
nice
black
black
pottery.
pottery, and make a stir fry in that. And this is cast iron, so any fry is exactly like a non-stick. It doesn't stick to it at all. So these are some of the things. And also storing, I make sure that it is just. And my tawa is again, we just had rava dosa today. So these are all cast iron tawas. Yeah, moving towards a little more. I make sure that I have either stainless steel or glass bottles. Over a period of time, I've shifted away from storing food, especially cooked food, in plastic, because we started getting so much plastic that we were using only plastic in everything, fridge storage, because we don't know, as the plastic deteriorates over a period of time, how much of the chemicals are leaching into our food. So I've stopped putting food in plastic tapas. It's only glass or steel, and we used a lot of bottles. These were all those days. I used to get milk in these 1 liter glass bottles, and I'm using them to store my grains. So you can see the pulses and grains are all stored there. So yeah, we have questions or anything else that we haven't covered?
So if anybody has any questions, we can. What about water filtration? Huh.
I don't have an RO. I don't believe in RO. I have an aqua guard, and we fill. I used to put it in glass bottles and keep it, because I used to only fill when it is when I need. But off late summer, we need constant water, so we take it directly from there and
It's just a UV filter.
yeah, UV filter.
Vani, this is Srinivas here.
Yeah, hi Srinivas, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good,
It's
good,
been a
good.
long time since I saw you.
Yeah,
So,
no,
quick
I don't come
question.
to the CS yet, but
You and I become very
irregular.
occasional nowadays, irregular. Yeah.
Okay,
A
okay.
question for that composting bin that you showed. No,
Yeah.
how long does it take to fill up?
It all
And
depends. Sorry. Tell
and
me.
also, how long do we need to wait for it to fully compost before taking
Okay,
out?
okay.
That's because
Got
I have just to let you know, I have a couple of bins.
Huh.
I keep putting stuff in one of the. I don't manage as systematically as we are doing, but I don't know when to take it out, when to start filling the next one, because it keeps shrinking, and I
Got it.
don't know. Yeah.
Got it. So I'll just give a small, quick understanding of composting and composting systems. So composting is happening all the time in nature. We just have to mimic it. It doesn't matter what kind of container you have. You could have an old paint bucket, just drill some holes, because we're talking about aerobic composting right now. And it just needs air circulation. It needs your fresh greens. That is the fresh, whatever comes off when you're doing the first time, especially what comes off your chopping board. But you can compost anything and everything that is biodegradable, right? So, and then along with the greens, we need a brown material, because composting is all about the balance between the wet and the dry. Because when it gets too dry, the composting process slows down. When it's too wet, it becomes stinky, it compacts, and it gets messy. So I terribly failed. It was a messy compost when I did for the first time, long back, more than a decade back. But then I'm glad I failed, because I think that's the one that gave me a thirst to learn more about it and understand more. And it's like composting is like a part of my everyday activity. So it doesn't become a chore, or it's some kind of you're taking an extra time to do it. It's just like if you have to cook a quick meal, you go and do a quick composting. So it's between these two, between the greens and the browns. The browns could be anything. It could be dry leaves that you collect over a period. I mean, if I could take you upstairs, I would have shown you so many different kinds of composting systems, and also the kind of hoarding of dry leaves that I do, because I can't let dry leaves go, because I need them so much for the throughout the year. They are freely available. Coco peat is only now by default because I'm not able to go up. I use coco peat here. Yeah, it's like that's the best thing. So there are different kinds of grounds you can use: dry leaves, coco peat, dry coco peat. It could be sawdust. All these are different materials and you can even use some of your old dry compost also as a dry material for to balance the fresh greens that we put into compost. And the bin, you have always have to line it with some dry material and start putting. And then an accelerator is or a culture is only to hasten. So when you ask the question, how long does it take? So it also depends on the microbial colony, what colonizes there. So if you're going to assess that, so you add a microbial culture. It could be as simple as your buttermilk, sour buttermilk. In summer, you keep it a couple of days outside, it becomes so sour, it's very good. Or you can buy store bought. Cow dung is a fantastic accelerator. So you do a little bit of, if you get good cow from a desi cow dung from any organic farmers, if you fresh cow dung, make a slurry and you pour it into your compost bin, and it's like it just kickstarts the entire process. So microbes are extremely important because most people, when they start composting, they keep asking, when will my compost be ready? It will be ready only if the microbe starts to eat them up and convert them into that. So we need a good colony of microbes. That's very important. And of course, air circulation. So the moisture balance, when all these are in ideal time, once your bin gets full, suppose you have had a 5 liter bucket, and when the bin gets full and you've stopped putting any fresh waste, you keep the bin away because it's already almost three-fourths full. Stop and then keep it away and then start another bin. So this bin that you have stopped putting any fresh waste takes around 40 to 45 days, depending on season. In winter, it's slow. So there is no formula in composting. It is by experience you understand. So as you're doing, now you have filled up a bin, and now that you need to move to another bin, then you wait, but you watch the other bin also. If that other bin starts getting very dry, the composting slows down. So you're not going to get it on 30, 40 days. So you have make sure you put moisture, because when moisture is lacking, they are aerobic creatures. The microorganisms are aerobic creatures, and they will not, they will be inert. They will not be active. So we need to make sure that the microbes are active. So moisture is extremely important. So the bucket that you've kept away, also make sure you keep it moist. It should not be wet. It should be moist. So the balance is about not letting it get wet. When it gets wet, it gets soggy, it compacts, air circulation is lost, and the microbes also suffer, they drown. So we need to make sure that it is moist. When you take your semi-done compost and you squeeze it, you should not have drops of water falling. But when you leave it, it should form a ball. So that's the kind of moisture that we need to maintain in our compost bed. So 35 to 40 days, 45 days should be the right time for it. Once you stop putting you start counting on the day you stopped putting. 45 days from then, because the top layers will have compost, that is, the fresh waste, and the bottom layers. So the whole thing to convert. And how do you know it is ready? It would have become black. You don't see any vegetable matter. Of course, you'll see a seed. An avocado seed and a mango seed will not take 45 days. It needs repeated rounds of composting. So you'll have to take them away. You don't have to sieve the compost. Take away all the things that have not broken down. Put it, leave a curing time for a couple of weeks so that it's ready. Especially in summer, if you put a compost that is not fully mature, it could burn your roots. So it all depends on that. So it's you get a hang of it over a period of time. I'm telling it very easy and simple. It looks like
Sure.
that, but we need to go through the process, experience it ourselves, because it is an experiential learning, and that's how we learn.
Okay. Does the mix need to be stirred up as in?
Yes. If yes, that's a good point that you raised. Turning the pile is introducing oxygen to the lower parts. So, and once a week, you don't have to do it every day. You have to let it sit because you don't want to disturb the activity. So, once a week, you can just give it a turn. And I can show you how I turn. So I just have something like this, and I don't even turn. I make sure that I just introduce the lower parts with some air. Yeah. So you can see here, come here. You can see the top part is all wet. There's a mango seed here. These are all still green. You can see all the thing. But as I go down, you will see that it's all dark. See, you'll have a stick that wouldn't have broken down, and there is an eggshell that hasn't broken down. So if you go still further, it will be even more. See, this is how, and it smells like the first rain. Oh, that's the smell of compost. It smells so amazing. Yeah, it'll become dark and it'll be crumbly. This is the first sign is that it'll be crumbly like this. See, when I press it down, there's no water dripping, and it is holding like this. So this is a sign of compost. Remove all the things that haven't, completely done, and rest is. So these guys will take a long time. Ultimately they will break down because that is biodegradable. That's how it is. Of course, you'll have maggots sometimes. You'll have maggots at times.
Yeah, yeah.
You'll have creepy crawlies. You can have millions of things which are not. Uh,
They're dead maggots.
they're okay.
Maggots are good.
They're actually they do a job. It's an ecosystem. The thing is about composting is you're creating an ecosystem, which is exactly how it is in the forest, where everything is recycling. Whatever falls on the forest floor gets recycled. Same way, whatever we put in our bin is mimicking that. So we have to encourage life in compost, right? To encourage life on the planet.
Okay, thanks, Vani. So, one quick thing. So, I'm not very active on social media and all that.
Yeah.
Is there a Kannada version of what you explained to us?
Yeah, I think Vasuki has videos in his channel, YouTube channel. I think he has done few Kannada ones also, Kannada, Hindi, because a lot of people ask in local language. So for me, my medium of conversation is only English because it's the easiest for me as as a language. So Kannada, we have people doing. I think you can search YouTube. You can. A lot of people are talking in Kannada also. So you can do a little research. I mean, search and then you may find videos in Kannada definitely, which you can pass it to people and encourage.
Vasuki's
Sure,
channel
sure.
is Soil and Health.
Soil and health.
Soil and Health, you can
Yeah.
check out.
Vasuki
Vasuki
Iyengar. YouTube, Vasuki Iyengar YouTube, you will get. And he has made some of the, especially the mesh composters. So he has made few things in bioenzymes and all that. You can
Okay,
find
yeah.
it.
I'll look it up.
Srinivas, we've
Thanks.
also made recharge wells in Vasuki's house.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And also, what about oil contained paper or plastic? How do we segregate that?
As in,
Oil or
when you buy oil in a plastic packet, is that what you mean clearly?
yes, yes, and also the oil packets we use, and also sometimes the cutlery, we get it from Swiggy and all. It gets oil stain and all. So what does we do with that kind of waste?
Swiggy boxes, you just wash it like how you wash a plate or your own dishes. Like you don't have to be too much into it, but definitely you have to take off all the parts and whatever left over in that. If you clean it to a decent way, it's fine. But if you're reusing it for something, you will definitely wash it clean, because suppose somebody's come and you want to send some food, or you want to give away your food to your house help or something, you like to put it in these Swiggy boxes and give it away. And that you need to keep it clean like regular washing. Your soap nut and bioenzyme is more than enough for washing these. But of course, if you talk about a oil packet that comes which is off the shelf, you can, after the oil is poured, you can cut three sides and then flatten it. And when you do your atta, you roll the made chapati atta, you roll it over it and absorb all the oil. And then you can just send it. If you have a cooker, when you open the cooker and there's hot water at the bottom, you can just pour over this oil sheet, after you removed it, after you used up the oil on your atta, on your chapati atta. And then pour that hot cooker oil onto it, cooker water onto it, and then that's good enough to go for recycling. It will go for recycling because it's clean. And also it is nice, clean, and nice and good thick. It's a very good grade
Plastic.
plastic.
Yeah, basically it'll remove all the
Yeah.
oil. The hot water,
Yeah.
will, the atta and the water will remove. Hot water.
You
will
don't have to
remove all
boil
that.
separate water for it, but there will be water when you open the cooker at the bottom. Just use that little water and clean it.
You just basically have to keep these things in mind and do it when it's. Any other questions? Does anyone have?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
My name is Nilima. I, I, there was an earlier, maybe 2 years old video that I had seen of yours in which you were using a repurposed planter. I think it was with some wooden, I don't know, maybe reject wood or something like that. And this planters for me is it gives me a lot of stress when I have to buy so many planters and also budget and all of that I'm looking at. So I wanted to ask about that. Is that something custom made
Yeah, it was
or
custom
even
made.
if it is custom,
Yeah,
how would we get it made or whom to reach out to?
yeah, it is custom made. It lasted me for almost 10 years, I think. It was in my balcony. It's still good. It's still, I had taken it up on the terrace, but I was afraid because it was on stilts on my balcony on top. So I had to remove it. It was like wearing out. But now it's on a stand in my terrace, so it's still working. It is from wood, packaging wood. And also there parts of it had sheets, pressed sheets of coir, I think, coir sheets. So coir wood. It's quite thick, and it was custom made by a guy who was experimenting with it. So it is, of course, you will be paying. The best is to reuse some, you know, uh, these. You get containers, plastic containers for something. They cut, even they make even these water, they water containers. They cut it and then they use it. So you can repurpose many things. Yeah, it all depends on how much you need and how quickly you need it.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
Dr.
and
So go ahead, Nilima.
so did you have to line the wood or something, or it
No,
still lasted?
no, not.
Okay.
Long back, around 11 years back, I had someone who built boxes for me, square foot gardening, which had lining, which had a plastic lining. But then after that time, I realized that it was absolutely it just keep it moist and break down very quickly, the plastic, and then you can't really
Right,
remove the
yeah,
plastic from the soil. So best is to put it
exactly.
directly into the wood, and
Okay.
as long as the wood lasts. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, whenever you're repurposing any plastic container, you have to keep in mind how quickly it will break down.
Yeah.
If it is going to
Yeah.
break down very quickly, then it's not worthwhile
Best is the
repurposing.
pottery,
Yeah.
the regular pot, not the cement pots, but the
Terracotta.
terracotta pots, mud pots. You can have them in small sizes, big sizes, square, round, tall, short, everything. Of course, we grow if you have to grow some. Even the weight is very important because on terraces you can't put too much weight. So big drums to grow your, drumstick. If you want, you need a lot of space. I have big drums that grow
Mm.
drumstick, and so it again, how much of it you want to use and whether it will serve the purpose.
I had a
Yeah.
question actually. You showed us the healthy cooking containers like Manipur black pottery and there are even terracotta things. There are some terracotta pots here. I can show you. It's used for setting curd and stuff like that. And cast iron.
Even brass.
Yeah.
I
Oh
use
yeah.
brass.
Brass and that this thing also, no? The EHM.
EHM. Oh yes.
Yes. Yes. Okay, yeah.
That's my favorite.
You can see it's all steel everywhere.
This is
Yeah.
EHM. It's tin, pure tin. So rasams come out very well in this. My mother is always making this, and it will just melt if you don't keep any liquid in this. If you keep it on the stove, it will melt. And also when it's hot, when you put the tongue to pick it up, it will dent because it is so malleable. Is it malleable?
Yeah, malleable.
Malleable. It is tin, so it becomes very good. Brass. So that this EHMB is again another material. So these are all traditionally used by our grandparents, for the longest time. And this is again my favorite. It's heavy with bronze, but there is kalai. So there's kalai in this. So even to make your pongals and sambars, anything you can make as long as the kalai is there. There is no kalai in brass also you can use, but you should not use any acidic like tomatoes and tamarind and all that. But you can make sweets in it. You can make like sweet pongal. So that's it.
So actually, my question was, what about the food itself, like processed versus
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
food?
So basically, I learn a lot from Mama. Okay, she's my guru in every way. Her influence has been mighty in my life, and we are we meet very constantly, regularly. We are together for a long time. So the thing is, I started understanding food from her. About she was very much into farming, what people, what are the farmers, this that. So the pesticides and all that. So once you get understanding that I don't want to buy anything that will, bring this kind of process, and also slowly started understanding the process, what the processed food brings onto your table. So totally, completely looking at taking away processed food. So I don't even use garam masalas and all that. So anything that is fresh. So I'll make a little bit of sambar powder fresh. Everything is fresh. I grate coconuts fresh. I don't buy anything tinned, canned, or processed, or has labels and ingredients. So factory food is something that I have been avoiding constantly. Of course, my son is like his favorite is processed food for him. So yeah, ketchup bottle will be there. Of course, he doesn't live with me, so it's okay. But there are a few things that he will keep here for his own benefit. So it's like but one thing is in all this, I have found that a lot of people when we get into certain practices, we become very preachy and start looking at saying that you're doing wrong, I am right. So one thing in this journey, what will keep you powerful and empowered, and really you will have a voice to make a difference, is not judge others. That's something that I have right from day one I have been thinking that it just drains my energy to convert someone. I don't have to. I just have to have the conviction to talk what I believe in. So I don't talk about anything that I don't do. And this is something that I feel everybody should understand. The minute you understand something, you go to your parents, or you go telling them, "Oh, you shouldn't." So one guy told me, I told my mother not to do like this. Yeah, I told her to use this. I said, why are you asking your mother to do? You do, no? So it's like you can't, get others. Even today, the laundry is my husband's, domain. He does the laundry, drying, and washing, everything he does. So, like, he still uses Ariel, and I will never interfere with that because he didn't make the choice to turn into what I have turned into. If given my chance to load the machine, I will put soap nut liquid into it. So you have to let people choose what they want to do. And you become too preachy, you lose your steam actually. So that's one thing. When people get into this space, they become too excited and start faulting everybody around them. I mean, everything is an extreme nowadays. People are. I wonder what is really right or wrong in this world today, because I keep asking myself, because there are so many people saying this is good, that is good, this is not good, that is good. Even in sciences, half the people will say this is right, that is right. So it's like so confusing. Social media has taken you to believe in some traditional methods, what your parents were doing, what is soft on the planet, what is easy for you not to become a burden. I think we have to stick to that and jump into some kind of extremes. Yeah.
Rakshita, you had typed in a question. Can you please ask, because I'm not able to see the chat here.
Yeah, sure. Ma'am, could you please let us know, like, where do we get these vessels?
Ah.
The alternate steel
Yeah,
vessels.
there are a lot of people making, so you can just I mean, there's nothing that you can't search on the net. So there are a lot of people, there are small businesses, people who have come up understanding this. So there is what's Zishta is one place where they do R&D, make sure these metals are all goes through strict uh, and they know what material. So I would buy from people who, there are people who will say this is, but we don't know the material they are using. So yeah, if you want standardized and all, there is Jishta is there. There are a lot of people like that who have
Indus
come up.
Valley.
Indus Valley. So there are many people who are selling these traditional metals, pottery, and other things. Yeah.
When you go to some of these exhibitions, this Banipur black pottery, you will find.
Yeah, black pottery is it's again from it's not just clay; it's metal that they grind, and I mean there's a process. It's like in Manipur, I think it's very popular, and I just love Manipuri black pottery. The feel is so good, and when something is cooked in that, I feel it's like healthy. Because some of these materials that they use also add on some minerals into your food, is what they say. So yeah, you just feel, not just your ingredients are healthy, even the material is bringing some kind of nutrients into your food.
Yeah, that's what they say about iron.
Iron,
So
yeah.
that's why I should eat food cooked in iron.
What did you do with your old non-stick tawa or pan, whatever you had?
It was long back. I don't know. I want. There are some inside because I don't know how to dispose them.
Right.
But my maid said, "ಎಷ್ಟು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ ನಾನು ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ." ಅಯ್ಯೋ, it's not good. What to do? So she wanted to take it. I said, take it.
Take it.
I use mine for storing fruits.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have some 2-3 non-stick pans which I've got. I
Yeah.
keep my fruits in
Now
them.
I don't have any. I think, or maybe there's some one or two inside.
Must be up.
Yeah.
Up in
Yeah.
here. Yeah.
We have to find channels to. There are so
How
many things we
to
still don't know where to send. So
Right,
we
exactly,
keep
yeah.
collecting them, and we have to see finally what to do.
Yeah.
Like Uma was saying, synthetic clothes. I don't want to give anybody. I said, afterwards somebody has to take it. It has to go somewhere.
So what will happen after?
She says, I don't want to. They will use it, and the microfibers will get it. I said, what will happen to the synthetic clothes finally?
Yeah, I mean,
So it's a big
99.9%
question we have to ask ourselves.
of the clothes that are being made as
Yeah. So again, clothes are again, fast fashion, sticking to good cotton and
fair trade.
fair trade. So
Oh,
many.
so many
I mean,
things
there
are
are
there.
so many areas that we can explore to make us feel better and deserve a space in this planet
Yeah.
when we take on such practices.
Yeah, using tree-loved clothes.
Yeah.
and all
Okay.
of
Uma
that.
loves tree-loved clothes.
Yeah, I basically have only that.
Yeah.
Just hand-me-downs and second-hand stuff.
She's the monk in my life.
But somebody else was asking a question. Sorry, got interrupted.
But that kunkum, what? How do we distribute, or whatever the distribution is done? What do we do with that?
I didn't hear the first part. Can you repeat?
So what kumkum packets that we get during weddings or any event, or when we do event or something, how do we give that kumkum thing to others?
When my son got married, that we have that little function that you have to give haldi kumkum and all. So we bought haldi and kumkum. I bought organic haldi and kumkum, and we packed it in paper covers. Put it in newspaper. Put the whatever haldi, nicely tied, made a nice packet out of it, and then gave it. So when you buy ready-made these plastic in which kumkum comes, it's definitely going to go somewhere sometime. So it's better we avoid. When we get it, we should know what to do with it. So send it back into another circulation so that it gets used some more time.
Yeah,
Do you
traffic
sometimes
and
think
chicken.
of
Sorry,
Yeah.
go ahead, Shubha.
No, I'm just thinking, do you sometimes think of new rituals or new ways in which this should be done at all? Like, for instance, haldi kumkum, you get these small amounts. Are you really going to use it? What's going to happen? So, and like, what purpose does it serve? And I even think about it for birthday or whatever. The things we do, we just do it because it's done.
Very true, very true, very true. And also now I have the flexibility to do it the way I want and what scale. So like there are a lot of things as a ritual which used to be in our family, I have done away with, because I feel if I simplify this, and keep it to a very basic, like festivals also, there is no over of anything. Whatever grows in my terrace, I want. Right from the videdale, that is the beetle leaf, to the flowers. If there are not many flowers, I will just there, like whatever I grow, I keep this also as naivedya. Sometimes I will not even buy some things. It's like, get little flowers in your garden. 4 flowers is enough for me for as a decoration. So we need to simplify and make it more meaningful. So it's like blindly we shouldn't be looking at practices and continue. When you have the freedom, of course, if you lived with your in-laws and they have a tradition, I can't really not do things how they want, because I will be disrespecting them. But of course, when it is on your own, you can do it the way you want, as beautiful and as simple as you can. Anything for that matter. So both my son's wedding, like my first son got married, a year and a half back. The younger one got married 3 years back. His was like, because it was not pandemic, we had few people, but it was a absolutely well managed zero waste, I would say, because we managed everything. I had friends like Uma, Shamla, and all. We sat together, planned everything. Not a card was printed. It was all so we did a I think a fairly good job on making sure that we don't leave any footprint, negative footprint. The second one, my son, was during pandemic. He didn't want to marry, but we insisted we'll do a small ceremony in my terrace. It was so beautiful around my composters, my plants, and with very little decoration. We had such a simple ceremony, and it was so meaningful. We had 15 guests. That's all. Few elders in the family and few of my friends and my daughter-in-laws. Yes, I thought that. I mean, marriages should be like that. It's just the family, and you can go and throw a lunch somewhere, for all the other people. But when it comes to the actual ceremony, I had the freedom to make it as simple as possible. In fact, I had a deal with my Purohit saying that 1 hour you have to finish it and you have to cut everything because they don't want this, they don't want that. She said, I don't want Kanyadan because I don't want to be given as Dan away from Dan, my daughter. So respecting her sentiments and everything, what my son didn't want, everything put together, we made it such a meaningful, beautiful. It was so satisfying. We were laughing, and there was no stress, no tension. We had food served in steel plates and everything. So all the flowers went into my composter there itself. So nothing left my terrace after the wedding. Only people came out. Yeah,
Yeah, true.
so yeah.
I wish
Thanks. Yeah,
there
that
are
is, I mean, yeah, so that's really, and in doing all of that, if there are any kind of creative ideas, so to say, that come to you, I'm sure you're sharing it somewhere. Those are the things that,
Yeah, in fact, there are a couple of videos. One is a video, Harsha has only made them, by the way. One is about Vani's son's wedding, and the other one is about Dr. Meenakshi's son's wedding, where both Vani and Meenakshi are having a conversation about what all has been done to make it a zero waste event. So, both are zero waste event videos. I'll share them in the afternoon.
Yeah. Creativity there in Meenakshi's that wedding, that they used some bottles and this and that. And for my son's wedding at the venue where the younger one 3 years back, we had we had to get the caterers to understand what we wanted. The decoration, the venue fellow had the decorators, and I told him I don't want anything that is plastic or anything. So it was cloth. They used colorful cloth to do all the decorations in an open space, and it was very nice. And they used just flowers, fresh flowers, and used a lot of these leaves to make hanging birds and all that. So that they did. That's it. And in Meenakshi's son's wedding, they used some bottles and all. No, they got
ropes,
ropes.
yeah.
Even what do you
The
call it?
names.
The name was done in ropes and all that. So for us, we used a chalkboard to write welcome. Wedding, this one, wedding of this, these two, please welcome. A chalkboard in the entry, that's it. No huge banners to say, this one weds that one and all that.
No
Flex and all that, nothing. So it's just being mindful and, looking at what else it needs planning, and it needs you to sit down with people who understand this, who have already done it.
Yeah, each step of it has to be.
But it's fun to become minimalist because it's so challenging. At the same time, it's so creative, to think in those ways. Yeah.
So, Vani, just the point you made about not being preachy, very well taken. At the same time, even if we talk about weddings, for example, this thought is triggered with the wedding conversation, right? The people are different, as you point out, and when there's a larger, like when my wife and I decided, okay, we will not make this wedding just like how we imagine it. We will let our parents come in, we will make it something it's for them also. And
Yeah.
then it was intercast, and then you have to navigate that. So uh, so in this complexity, sometimes the challenge is even within the family, right? Without being preachy, how do we nudge change? How do we, so if we make it again simpler, much simpler, around all the things that you demoed, from the enzymes. For example, in my house, I have the enzymes bit. I haven't pushed because most of the vessel washing, it's the combination of Radhika, my wife, and the maid who does it. And every time I've got the ash or the enzyme or the thing, it hasn't, somehow there is a resistance about, oh no, no, ಎಣ್ಣೆ ಇದ್ರೆ ಹೋಗಲ್ಲ, this, the fat doesn't go. But what are those little stories or the little things that you've discovered, where this bringing family members along the journey, or for little children, when you have 8-year-olds and 10-year-olds at home, to make them a part of this, to make them a part of this journey? What are those stories where we can make it fun, where we can bring down these uh, potential for conflict around this at
Yeah, yeah.
home? It's not about being preachy, it's about doing, that's a challenge. I mean, that's uh, a source of a lot of energy at home
Yeah,
for.
yeah, I totally get you. I totally get you. I mean, yeah, when you're in a position that you can decide things, it's a different ball game altogether. But if you have to involve people, you have to be empathetic to their. They don't understand. It's too much for them. It's beyond their capacity to understand why you're doing all this. So it is a difficult. It is difficult. But I think over a period of time, people will get it. I think it has to be slow. Like for a long time, my maid didn't like this. I used to mix shikakai powder and soap nut with little ash and give her. She would tell my husband in secret, "Can you bring me Vim?" So he would bring it and give it to her. So we have gone through all this, and then finally I told, "Nan, ishtu matta ideni. You see me, I love washing. So I'm washing half the vessels. Why do you need Vim?" And then she said, "Okay." Now she uses only that, but she says silver doesn't wash well. Can you get me Vim at least for your silver? ದೇವ್ರದ್ದು ಸಾಮಾನ್ಲ I'm not able to wash it. ಪಳಪಳ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. Get me. So okay, that little one, we don't wash it every day. So I get that little Vim that she wants. But yeah, it takes time. Even now, my husband says, it's very yucky for him to use all these. So I kept another bottle of a soap nut liquid that I have purchased from Prachin Vidan, which is not as rough as this. This can be a little smelly, and that looks nice because they have put some fragrance in that. So he likes that. So I gave him a replacement, which is not a store bought chemical one, but it is from a person who makes soap nut liquids. And I buy a 5 kg can, and I asked my mate to use it also. So I made it easier for them. But when it comes to me, I'm so excited to soak those soap nuts and boil them overnight and keep them soaked in overnight and then squeeze the water. It's like a process itself is therapeutic for me. But people to reach a stage there, like how we want, it takes a long time. So we have to be compassionate to them and mix it slowly. I know a lot of people who have young children, they introduce them and they're so amazing. The kids love the process, involving them in making a bioenzyme. You weigh this, weigh the peels, weigh the jaggery, take this much water, get them to make a science experiment at home. Let us keep it, it's fermenting process, put it in a dark corner, every day open, you'll see the gas coming out. So just getting them to make that and telling them, soaps, why do we have to buy, we have to buy that bar of soap? Can we make soap nuts, to make our hair wash, something like that. I think you can get creative. So yeah, you change definitely for sure, but to translate it in for people in and around takes a long time, and everybody need not do the way we do. So as long as it's my, like, the only example I always give is my husband still uses Ariel. and I'm okay with it. I'm perfectly okay with it. I'll never ever argue or tell him, no, no, you should be using. I try to bring, Bricks makes, laundry detergent, but he says no, Ariel is the best. So he's been fed a good advertisement to Ariel that it's the best, so he uses it. So it's okay. I make it a joke and I talk about it. But we also have to loosen up and not be too. Uh, People get anxiety because oh my god they are using my mother. Oh, she takes plastic cover. I tell her not to. You shouldn't feel stressful about it. You should be okay. Then I think things fall in place, and you're so much more better to accept people the way they are, and still keep your practice and talk about it and tell how fun it is and how important it is, how much you saved, how much you are saving the environment and the ecosystem from getting damaged. I think it's a mix of everything, according to my experience. I'm only talking about my experience.
Thank you so much, Vani. Thank you so much for this was really wonderful. I actually haven't seen your, the whole thing for a very long time now. So it was really nice to go through that
Yeah.
completely. And I forgot to mention earlier, we have recorded this session.
Okay.
And thank you. Thanks everyone for attending. And I'll be sharing a couple of videos later on in the afternoon.
Hey, if I can say something.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Thanks, Vani. Really, I mean, all the practices are of course there, but I really like the attitude with which you take it forward, and perhaps I mean, I see my greatest learning from that about like quite delighting in what you do, not forcing the others, but at the same time in a subtle way, because probably that's the only sustainable way in which other people will make their choices for themselves, and not because they've been told this is right or wrong or moralistic or whatever. It's none of those things that will stick, but it's something that comes within you at some point by observation or just the joy of doing it. So it's really non-violent, so to say, in a way. So I really like that part.
That's a great
I mean, it
distinction.
gives me happiness, and I continue doing it.
Exactly.
But I
Right.
ultimately do that because if it's going to be stressful, then it's not
Correct.
going to help because
Right.
it will not sustain your own mental health. So,
Right.
so
True. Yeah, some people might argue to say that that's not the way in which the change will really happen or what. So I wonder about it myself sometimes. Like, is it so it's like I wouldn't say bottom up also, it's like a very democratic approach or something. It's an approach of freedom and it's a different kind of approach. And the only
yeah,
challenge sometimes.
I mean, every day I see change happening. I get DMs constantly about, people catch me in airports or wherever I'm going and tell me, I watched this video of yours and I started composting. I think, like, I learned how to make. So it's like, I mean, I'm in a position where I just want to keep, putting it out there. You don't know. Universe is such a large space. People are picking it up. That itself is such a motivating factor for me every day. I never get tired of talking about composting or any practice I have. As I told you yesterday when we started planning, like night I am like excited because of the session today. And I'm 62 and this keeps me so happy. This keeps me alive. And what more do I need at this stage? Because I'm the happiest today. It's there. The universe is sucking it up. They are all taking it. So it's like you have to believe that change happens constantly. Believe that you are the instrument that is making that change. When you are there is so much conviction, your passion, everything will translate. All those are the ones that will translate. So you have no anxiety around it.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thanks so much for your time. Yeah.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Bye.